Welcome to TGIF. And today's word is shine.
One thing comes to my mind when you say that word.
What would that be?
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Yay. I love it. I love it. I love it. And if there's one thing we have seen with Daniel, he has shined through all this book. He has been a real representation of what it means to shine for God and to be faithful to God in the chaos, be faithful as a teenager, and be faithful as he grew older too. So how can we duplicate that? Hard to do. We need to do it in our own way, how God is calling us and how we are called to shine everywhere we go. So today we're looking at the last chapter of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 3.
Those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky, and those who lead many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever.
So it doesn't have a lot of content about there about retirement and saving lots of money, having a big house, having this or having that, right? It says, those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky. Are you shining as bright as you can shine today? And the other question is, or the other thing that we're going to do is lead many to righteousness. So our main objective here, our purpose on life is to lead others to righteousness, to lead others to God. I mean, God's people are called to be these courageous people who live lives in all the struggles of life, having hope in a good season or a bad season. But what happens? The good seasons, we're shining a light bright. And the bad seasons, it seems like everything falls apart and we become this like little flicker of a light.
And then there's the times that we just forget to shine at all, like to eat that we're even called to shine. We get busy with all the things and then we're like, oh yeah, God, I remember now. And how did we, if that's not on the forefront of our mind, how are we looking for the people that God might have us lead to follow Him, but not even have us lead? By our actions, they begin to ask questions of why how you're handling such a hard situation, and still there's something about you that's different.
Yeah, and I think it keys into God's promises. Right? God's promises will outlast my life, your life, all of our lives. God's promises are forever. And so God's promises outlast our little short lives. I mean, we are a very small blip in the span of time. And so shining a light for Jesus is how we are called to really live, but also to unite ourselves with others in trouble. When trouble comes, don't do trouble alone. Doing trouble alone puts you on an isolated island, and depression, anxiety, and worry, they all start to dominate your day. What we are called to do is be community in troubled times and come together so that we can shine even a brighter light into a world that it's getting darker and darker, and that's what Revelation tells us. It will be dark towards the end, but that promise always remains.
And it doesn't mean that we're gonna be happy all the time, because we are human. We have pain, we have loss, we have grief, we have struggles. They are real. But I think every one that comes our way, because if you're not in a storm, you just came out of one, or you're heading to one.
So true. You
have the opportunity again to say, how can I reassess how I'm dealing with the situation? How am I being a shining light that Jesus is Lord of my life, even in this terrible, terrible circumstance and situation? Not easy to do, or everybody would be doing it. But I think as us trying to dive in deeper and ask ourselves these questions, having went through Daniel and watched how he remained the same, he remained humble, he knew where his strength and his courage came from. We are people that want to take ownership of, I did that, I'm strong, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, versus that idea of humility. What are we called to? And are we shining a light for Jesus? And do we care if others meet Jesus, make Jesus Lord of their life? Do we care? Does that affect your day? It should affect your day. I was walking yesterday walking around our neighborhood and I come across other people walking or people sitting outside, and I literally, in my prayer time walking, said, Lord, show me someone that I can show Jesus to. I mean, I didn't just run up to somebody and do it, but it's like I was asking God to show me.
That's nice. I think that so many times we're focused on ourselves. We want to be remembered. When we pass away, we want those to remember us. We want to leave a legacy or something like that. And that's not what we are called to be. That's what I like about chapter 12, because verses 1 and 2 really focus in on God's protection in times of trouble. That's what we need to know. When trouble comes our way, God's protecting us. God gets the last word in our life, not us.
Ooh.
And I think sometimes we think we want the last word and we want people to remember this about us, rather than say, all I want people to remember is that I was a shining light for Jesus, and I pray they come to know Jesus when I'm gone. They don't need to remember me at all. Verses 3 and 4 then talk about that promise. The wise will always lead others. Will always be leading. So wise people, that's just the very nature when they are connected with God. That is who they are in leading others to righteousness, whether it's at home, school, work, community, wherever you go. That should be the very essence of who you are as a follower of Christ. And then we finished out these verses 5 through 13 in chapter 12. It's this God view of the end, which is hard for us to even understand that and be able to connect with it. But I think we understand the promise He's given us. So God owns the end of the story. We don't. We don't own even the end of our story. So the most important thing to really do then, as we see through Daniel, is just be that consistent righteousness shining the light.
It's a responsibility that we have as Christians, but God created us to shine our light for Jesus. So it's a big responsibility, and I think we take it too lightly, too many times.
And sometimes I think it's because we haven't spent time finding a person ahead of us that's shining the light, so they can shine light and pour their light into us, and then we again pour it into others. And so it's like this handing it along, the light, for every generation, rather than absorbing the light and it's just mine. You've got to have somebody pouring light into you as well, the light of Jesus. So that's what we sometimes miss.
And I think we could all, if we were asked this question, who's that person that their passion for Jesus, their love for Jesus, the way they shine their light for Jesus, it's contagious. Like, who is that person in your life? That's a person you want to spend some time with. I mean, we all have those people that you get around them and you start talking about God's word and the things going on in your life and where God is at work, and you leave and you're fueled. But then on the same note, you go around someone else who doesn't have that in their life, and they need you because you're there to pour into them. Don't allow them to bring you back down.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's the complexity we live in, and that's what Daniel's story is.
So our question we give you, how can you shine for God this week? It makes me think of when our kids were in regular school, because I didn't drive them to homeschool, when they were in regular school, and even when I was dropping the girls off when they were in high school, my kids know, if you ask them, what did your mom say every time you got out of the car? I always said, shine your light for Jesus today. They're like, all right, Mom, slam, and they slam the door. But I hope that embedded in them that they were going onto that campus to be a light, not a light for themselves and how great they are, but be the light for Jesus. And we have that no matter where you go. Sitting in a Bible study class, you should be a shining light for Jesus.
That's right.
When you show up at church, when you go to work, when you go to play, how can you shine your light everywhere you go this week? Think about that.
Shine, Jesus, shine.
And as you know, this is the end of Daniel, so we just finished the major prophets. Those of you that have been following us in TGIF, it's been a long journey getting to the major prophets. So the next will be the minor prophets. However, we have an intermission, because if you are watching real time and doing TGIF with us, like I said, in real time, we are going to be taking a break for the Advent season, and you are invited to participate in Advent, those of you who are local, on Thursday morning Bible study or Sunday night as we prepare for Christmas. So when we come back, we start with the minor prophets, and the first being Hosea. So make it a great end of your year, and we will see you for Advent or see you next time on TGIF in 2026. Bye.
Bye.